Welcome, everyone. Let's just jump right into this explainer. Today, we're basically turning into digital detectives to decode exactly what happens when you click a link. I mean, we spend hours every single day navigating cyberspace, right? Especially if you're a student constantly juggling online portals, research databases, or just scrolling social media. But right beneath the surface of every single web page you visit, there's this fascinating, highly structured language, and actually a rather surprising memory problem. So let's unpack it. Think about your daily routine for just a second. You probably click, dozens of links a day? For school, shopping, catching up with friends online. But have you ever stopped to actually read what that web address is telling you? It's so easy to just click a blue line of text, and trust it'll take you where you want to go. But honestly, in the world of cybersecurity, blindly trusting a link, that's a recipe for disaster. The fact is, a ton of the most common cyber attacks out there rely completely on misleading addresses just to trick you.
Okay, let's look at what a web address actually is. Take a classic URL, which stands for Uniform Resource Locator, by the way. It usually looks like this massive, complicated string of characters, right? It's super easy to just gloss over it. But we're going to meticulously slice up this URL into its core anatomy, because by breaking it down piece by piece, you'll see the secret code hiding in plain sight. You're going to understand exactly how your browser knows where to find your, say, cybersecurity notes on some server halfway across the world.
Let's start right at the beginning with the scheme. You're almost always going to see this as HTTP or HTTPS. This basically tells the browser what protocol to use to fetch whatever resource you want. Now notice that little S at the end of HTTPS? That stands for secure. It means it uses TLS encryption to protect your data while it's in transit between your browser and the server. But, and listen, this is a massive but, just because a URL has HTTPS absolutely does not mean the website itself is trustworthy or safe. It literally just means your connection to whoever is on the other end, even if it's a total scammer, is securely encrypted.
Moving slightly to the right, next up is the domain name, or the host. In our example here, this is www.example.edu. This is the actual name of the specific server you're trying to reach. Now, this is absolutely crucial. This is the exact spot where attackers and scammers will try to trick you with lookalikes. In a phishing attack, they might do something sneaky like swap out the letter L for the number 1, making it look like examp1.com. If you aren't reading carefully, you might hand your student login credentials right over to a hacker without even realizing it.
Let's keep building this out. Next, we have the port. Notice the colon followed by 443? Think of the domain as the address of a giant office building, and the port is a very specific door to get inside. Since a server handles lots of different types of traffic, it uses these logical endpoints called ports just to keep everything organized. HTTPS normally uses port 443. That's the standard entryway for secure web traffic. Older, unencrypted HTTP normally uses port 80. Now, your browser usually hides this number because it just assumes you want the default door, but trust me, it's always there in the background.
So once we've gone through the right door, we hit the path. In our example, that's /courses/cybersecurity. The path tells the server exactly which file or folder to open up for you. It's honestly just like finding a specific document in a massive physical filing cabinet. It guides the server through its internal directories to fetch the exact page, image, or video you're asking for.
Right after that, we often see a question mark, followed by some text. This right here is the query string. In our example, it's $unit = 1. The query string is used to pass extra instructions, search terms, or parameters directly to the web application. But hey, here is a vital cybersecurity warning for you. Never, ever put sensitive information, like passwords or social security numbers, in a query string. Why? Because these web addresses, including the full query string, frequently get saved in your browser history, server logs, and even network monitoring tools. You definitely don't want your password sitting around in plain text like that.
And finally, right at the very end, introduced by a hashtag or £, we have the fragment. Here it's #DNS. The fragment is pretty unique because it's purely a client-side location marker. It's essentially just a handy little bookmark for your browser. It tells your browser, hey, once you download this page, just scroll down automatically to the DNS section. It jumps you straight to exactly what you want to see.
Section 2. The HTTP Amnesia problem. Let's look at a pretty fascinating quirk of how the web was originally designed.
To really understand this amnesia, we have to compare stateful versus stateless communication. Everyday human interactions, those are stateful. If I meet you and learn your name, I'm going to remember your face for our next interaction. But HTTP, the protocol that runs the web, is fundamentally stateless. This means every single request you make is totally independent. Unlike a human who remembers you, the server treats every single click you make as if you are a completely new stranger. It has absolutely no memory of the click you made just 2 seconds ago. Crazy, right?
Section 3. How cookies save the day. So this amnesia brings up a massive practical problem. If the server forgets who you are every time you click a new link on your college portal, how on earth do you stay logged in?
Well, the absolute hero here is the session cookie. To create continuity across a stateless protocol, web applications use things like cookies, sessions, or tokens. A session cookie acts exactly like a digital VIP name tag. Once you log in, the server hands your browser this name tag. Then your browser automatically flashes this exact name tag to the forgetful server with every single click you make after that. The server looks at the cookie and goes, "Ah, yes, I see the name tag. I remember you're already authenticated."
But, as they say, with great power comes great vulnerability. Because these cookies bypass the need to re-enter your password every 5 seconds, if an attacker steals your session cookie, they literally become you in the eyes of the server. This is called session hijacking. To prevent this, developers absolutely have to protect cookies using strict security flags. They use the secure flag to ensure the cookie is only ever sent over encrypted HTTPS connections. They use the HTTP-only flag so malicious scripts can't access it. And they use the same site flag to prevent cross-site request forgery. Plus, applications have to logically expire these sessions after a certain amount of time. So an old abandoned session, like if you leave your laptop open in the library, doesn't just remain a permanent open door for anyone to walk through.
Section 4. Spotting the fakes. Bringing this all together, knowing the anatomy of a URL isn't just theory, it is your very first line of defense against real-world cyber attacks.
This really brilliantly illustrates exactly what you need to look out for in the wild. Attackers love using typo squatting in the domain. Like we talked about earlier, replacing an L with a 1 in example1.edu. Or they'll use confusing subdomains to trick you. They might create a URL that looks like example.login.update.com. At a quick glance, you see the words example and login, and you might just trust it. But because you understand URL anatomy now, you know you have to look right before the .com to find the true domain. In this case, the true domain is login update, which is a totally different and likely malicious server. And again, notice both of these use HTTPS. That little padlock icon does not mean the site is safe from phishing, it just means the thief is operating over an encrypted channel. So, now that you thoroughly understand the intricate anatomy of a web address, from the scheme all the way down to the fragment, and you know the secret life of session cookies compensating for HTTP's amnesia, I'm going to leave you with a challenge. Are you going to look a little closer at the very next link you click? Because that simple string of text is telling you a whole story, and knowing how to read it might just save your digital identity. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and stay curious out there.